Hi everyone, I'm Miguel Cedeño. I would like to present to you which is the winning formula to succeed in a PPC AI-driven world. Throughout history, mankind has been trying to compete with machines. We have been trying to compete to test our analytical or strategical skills by playing chess. We have been also trying to test our motor skills by playing some sports. But even some simple or basic things, but like by playing rock, scissors, papers, when we can test statistical or even psychological skills sometimes. But for some reason, we always end up losing with them. So it's not secret that organizations are starting to use more these technological advancements. Actually, what research has found is that by mid-2030s, the 30% of the jobs will be automated. It is not surprising also to see which is the industry that is taking most advantage at the minute of it. So we can say that marketing and sales are actually right now getting most of the revenue through these AI adaptations. This actually not very surprising because we work with Google, Facebook, Amazon, with all these big tech companies, which actually makes really sense. So in PPC, we have been one of the main areas where we have been able to test this kind of technological advancements. Within my experience as a PPC manager, what I have found are three different types of personas of how we have approached this. The first persona is that one that trusts the technology. So that person thinks that is a black box, therefore we cannot get any insights, we cannot understand the data, we don't know exactly how the algorithm is working, so therefore we cannot rely a lot on this. There are also some conspiracy theories within this persona sometimes, if you're getting more radical, where they believe that Google or Facebook just pushes the cost per clicks higher by using this technology, and then therefore they will get richer. We have the second type of persona, where actually that person feels threatened by technology, so potentially that can replace their work. And lastly, we have that optimistic person, PPC manager, which actually feels very excited, wants to start testing the new possibilities, the new opportunities that they are out there to try to outsmart their competitors. Most probably, we all PPC managers have gone through all these different phases at different stages, which is actually very interesting. So going back to the competition in PPC, actually, at the beginning, I was implementing my human optimizations with my campaigns. I was really targeting my campaigns. I was making them very niche. As you know, in PPC, we always took pride before of having 100% control on what we were doing. However, when we started making some machine learning optimizations, we can see how actually there was a really nice improvement in conversions, a big jump, and a dramatical decrease in the cost per lead of my campaigns, which was really good. So my first conclusion that I got out from this is that machine one, Miguel no. However, there's also the other side of the coin. There's this side of the coin where we're giving 100% of control to machines. We can see there are minimum conversions or non-existent. The cost per lead is really high, and the spend is also high. When we took that campaign and we took it on board, we were implementing some man and machine optimizations. What we have found is actually that the cost per lead dramatically decreased. Conversions month-on-month had a positive trend at the half of the spend. So actually, we're making fun of our client at that point that we have achieved much more at the half of what he was paying before. So, and actually he liked it and he was really optimistic with this. So what we have found here is that it's not about competing with machine. It's about how we find a way to collaborate and coexist with them. For this, Dr. T and Wilson have created a framework that we can actually use in our activities. From one side, we have all those tasks where machines are better than us, all those activities that humans actually are better than machines, and then we have this middle point where we actually are complementing the machine from one side, and from the other are those superpowers that machine is giving us to amplify, to scale our campaigns at levels that potentially before we could have imagined. So I will give an example just so it's a bit easier, this framework. So let's say, and for our fans this will be easier, that we have from one side Tony Stark. He's a genius, billionaire, playboy, and philanthropist. We also have then from the other side, we have Jarvis, which is the AI that he has developed. When you merge Jarvis with Tony Stark, we get Iron Man. We get those superpowers and those new possibilities and abilities that before we were not able to have. The way this looks in PPC is that research has found that if we have human optimizations, and similar to my previous example, you can reach a certain level of performance. Tech alone sometimes can have a nice 20% increase. However, if we combine both activities, we can see that this jumps into 35% increase. So it is important for us to find these ways to collaborate in the best way with machines. Therefore, I will be presenting to you some tactics that you can leverage these man and machine techniques in your, most of them are focused on PPC, but hopefully they will serve you as inspiration for your other digital marketing activities that also you can take these learnings from. So I will go first really quick to when human is complementing the machine, that role that we have to take with machines to make them work better, basically. From the first one is we need to train the machines to work towards an objective. Okay, we need to be feeding and training the machine with the right data so they can know where they aim into. The way we can do it with Facebook ads, for example, is that we can optimize for a specific conversion event. The way we can do it for Google Ads is using selective conversion. What does that mean? It's basically before in the platform, you were tracking all your goals in Google Ads. However, the machine didn't know exactly which was the best goal to optimize for. Now you can say at the campaign level, which is the conversion that you want to be optimizing. If you have an e-commerce website, you want actually to have more sales instead of having more form submissions sometimes. So that's why it's really important to be telling the machine which is the outcome that we want to achieve. So from one side, we know what we want to achieve, but then from the other one is what we don't want to achieve, what we want to remove completely from our platform. Otherwise, the learnings will get skewed and will be bringing more of the bad thing, right? Sometimes we have some conversions that Google is hosting automatically. So if they don't make sense, just remove them. That can happen on other platforms. So just remove anything that you don't want to actually aim for. Just tell your platform what you want to achieve and be really careful with the other data they are gathering. So we also need to regulate the lead quality. So we want leads, yes, but we want also the best leads. The best way to do it is basically by connecting your CRM system. We want to be telling Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, LinkedIn Ads, which is the state of those leads, which are the MQLs, which are the SQLs, which is actually when we have closed the business, for how much, which is the lifetime value of that lead. As much information as we can give to the platforms, they will be able to learn. We can give that feedback to them, and then we can bring more, not only leads, but more of the best quality of the leads. We also need to be trying to explain the machine to our stakeholders or to our clients. So we know sometimes that some changes, let's say, in bidding models, how it's affecting that conversion, how that's affecting your cost per lead, how that's affecting your revenue. So we have to be telling them, once we're changing our bidding model in this case, which is going to be the outcome, or what are we expecting to see. Another idea is about how to explain the machine is we need to be evaluating the pros and the cons when we're sending machine to the learning phase. We know that there are soft changes that might potentially not send the machine to the learning phase, but there are some other more structural changes that will send the machine. So at that point, what are we expecting normally to see fluctuations on data, but then hopefully then in the long run, it will go in a positive trend. So that's what we want, and we need to be telling our stakeholders or clients which are going to be the effects in the short terms and maybe in the mid or long term of that specific change. We also need to be connecting the right inputs. We need to be connecting all the wires from all the platforms into your CRM, into your system. So let's say if you have an e-commerce website, you need to connect all your online purchases, your offline purchases, your product feed, your pixel, your tags, your review feed, through all the channels that you have. In that way, your activity will be streamlined, everyone will be giving feedbacks between themselves, and then we can actually optimize better activity. Sometimes we just need to put the right restrictions. So it's not just only leaving the machine flying by its own solo, and then let's see what happens. We need to set some parameters so the machine will behave in the way we want them to behave. Sometimes we need to take the machine back to the road and explain what we want from them. So there are some ideas here like bidding restrictions, like you set a target CPA or a target ROAS, some restrictions in targeting when you remove things you don't want to be targeting or some pages, or even some restrictions in the ad creative. So we know now that machines can create thousands of ads and combine them between themselves, but sometimes we just want to tell them, okay, I want this ad in this specific position, and we can pin those elements in the ads. So let's go now to more exciting things. So when the machine is giving you actually superpowers, when you can amplify or scale your activity and your impact. So one idea is ad optimization. So here is how we use creatives and create those creatives in a way that we make many variations and very targeted for our users. So let's say we have our user A here, and then once we have set the goal, what we want to achieve, in this case, if you're a retailer, is get most of the revenue, and then the machine will start figuring out which are the demographics. If they are interested in a specific thing, we can serve one ad. If they have a specific behavior, then we can target with the ad number 2. Or potentially if it's raining and the weather is changing, then we can serve a better ad. So all these changes are done in real time by machines that before we were not be able to do. Before we had to do everything manually, and we were not even able to reach this real-time optimization. Another very similar example is like using dynamic retargeting. If you're a retailer and you have thousands of products, it's really complicated to make an ad for all of them and to try then to show the most relevant product to those users, right? So if we use dynamic retargeting, now we can serve the most relevant products to the user. In this case, if they have viewed a product, if they have added to the basket, if they maybe forgot and they didn't finish the checkout, sorry. So we can also be serving those most relevant products to them in order to bring them back and make them convert. The most popular way of machine learning, or the way maybe most of us started using it, is by bid management. So this is in real time managing all our bids using thousands of signals from these platforms. It could be the day of the week, time of day, the conversion journey, the interest. So we're using thousands of factors actually here to make the right and optimum bid in the platforms. Moving on, there's also an interesting one, is how you optimize your delivery, how you optimize your budgets also in real time, not only in one channel, but across all of them. So for example, and I started seeing this on Facebook a long time ago, which actually works really well, is how we optimize delivery from the Facebook feed and the Instagram feed with Messenger, and at the end also with the audience network. So these optimizations are being done now in real time that before we didn't even were able to do it. We just needed to exclude some channels that we thought they were not working, and then that's it, basically. And now we have that ability. Similar to this, and I would say maybe inspired by this, Google created Smart Shopping. So Smart Shopping is delivering ads in search, display, YouTube, shopping at the same time with one only campaign. This is so powerful. I have seen it for my e-commerce clients, and it actually really works really well. Definitely, that's something you will need to start testing for your accounts. Another way of automation are your budgets. So how do you deliver the best budget to the best targeting, to the best campaign? So we have now the ability, or we have had the ability of doing this. With Facebook, there's something called CBO, which is going to be delivering the ad to the best performing of your ad sets, which works really well. It always works for the thing you are trying to reach. Also, another one for Google Ads, we have the budget portfolios. You can assign different campaigns that set budget portfolio, and Google will make its magic and start delivering those budgets in real time according to the campaigns that will bring the best performance at that point. One more example are dynamic search ads. It's really interesting. At the beginning, I was a bit skeptical about this kind of optimizations, but actually what I have found with my clients is a really good performance. So this is how you target different keywords, thousands of keywords maybe, just by giving the signal of the different URLs. So this is something I definitely recommend also. So we can see how the cost per lead decrease and then how conversions just bump into the sky by using this search campaign. You just have to be careful because you have to set, as I mentioned earlier, the right restrictions, the right targeting, and you really need to know what you're doing. Another powerful example, and I really like this from Facebook, are the lookalike audiences. Google has something similar, which basically is called similar audiences. But for Facebook, I find them always really reliable and really simple to use. So if you have a user that have filled in a form, or maybe they have purchased, then you can find someone that looks like them, that shares the same characteristics, maybe demographics, maybe behavior. So you can find new users based on that criteria and then bring them to your website and make them convert. So these are some of the PPC learnings that we can apply, let's say, tomorrow from our activity. However, we have to think further than this. We have to think now with the machine. We have to make sure to know which is our value or which value we're giving to our stakeholders and to our clients. I have heard from some PPC managers that some clients now are reconsidering investments on management fees just because basically everything is now automated, right? Well, that's wrong. We still have value and we still have that role, as I have been explaining until now, and some activities that we can do much better than them. So how do you reposition yourself for success? So the first things are designing the strategies. We still need to be deciding which are the channels, which are the budgets, which are the tactics that we are going to use for our digital marketing activity. So that role of consultant is actually now even more important to our client or to our stakeholders in order to try to succeed in our activity. This is something that machines cannot do. That's something that we actually should be doing more proactively with our accounts. Moving on with this consultant, let's say, role, we have to be prioritizing our business goal. So many times some of my clients come and give me this kind of big list of objectives or goals that they want to achieve. Once actually I'm starting to chat with them, asking some questions, then what we have found is that actually there are different priorities that actually they really needed to achieve. So your job is going to be give priority to these goals and find a way to achieve them through different strategies. Okay, great. So then we also need to align our objectives with the right technology. So right now there are many technologies that they are going to be showing you about we can do this, we can do that. But basically, you have to select the best technology of them to try actually to meet them with your objectives. So which are going to be the technical elements that you need from that technology and how that can help you to get a better outcome, basically. Just some examples could be maybe even basic ones are how smart bidding strategies fit with your main objective. So if you want more conversions, you should be optimizing for conversions. But if you actually want more revenue, you should be optimizing for that. So always think about how technology and your objectives, they collaborate, they have this synergy, and always try to select the best one. Also, I have seen how AI are writing really cool ad copy. They are writing even pieces of content, and I have seen now they have been writing books by their own. However, we still need to know what we want to promote. We still need to know which is the value proposition, which are the USPs that we want to push so we can go to compete out there and outsmart our competitors. We still need to think about maybe our pricing models, about the speed of our service potentially, or if we want to compete by convenience of service, or maybe we want to put some promotions. So we still need to figure it out. Where are our strengths as company or for our clients? How can we compete out there and how we can beat competition basically? And finally, design the process. Decide those tasks where humans are better than machines. Design the tasks that machines will do the work for you. And more importantly, design all those tasks and streamline those tasks that machine and man do a better job so you can amplify, get those superpowers, and succeed in your campaigns. Thank you very much.